All right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. I have a great episode for you today, but first, as always, let's get through the show notes. If you're not following the Facebook page, head over to Facebook, type SideQuest Fitness into the search bar, and like the page. There, you're going to get updates on podcast episodes, articles when they get posted, and you're going to get a brand new taco recipe every Tuesday for Taco Camp. Plus lots of other shenanigans and nerd talk throughout the week, so make sure you head over to Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is SideQuestFM. If you want to see some cool videos and random stuff on Instagram as well, you can follow me on Instagram. Same handle, SideQuestFM. Or follow me on Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. Send me your questions. I want to get all the questions from you, help you as much as I can on your fitness journey or your journey in life, whatever it may be. But head over to Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. You get a little more personal, in-depth look at the shenanigans I get into throughout every day. But I do love getting questions from the community, so please send them out to me. If you have not left a review for the podcast, please head over to iTunes. If you're not listening on iTunes and you listen on SoundCloud or Stitcher, leave a review there as well. When you leave reviews, it helps me move up the charts on the iTunes store so that more people can see and hear the amazing guests that I've had on and have on each and every single week. So make sure you head over there. And don't forget, if you haven't picked up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss, head over to sidequestfitness.com/7 principles, and you can pick up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss. These are the same 7 principles I follow each and every day and teach my clients to help them shred away more body fat, unlock heroic strength, and just look better naked. So if you want to unlock strength or just look better naked in the mirror, head over again, grab those 7 principles of fat loss, and start following those today. All right, guys, I have a great guest for you today. Another one of the amazing guys that I've got to know through the business mastermind that I've been in, the one and the only Joey Percia of joeypercia.com. Joey recently just got engaged, so we spend a lot of time talking about his engagement and the cool story behind it, as well as talking about deadlifting, business, and so much more. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and check out joeypercia.com for all the show notes. Again, head over to sidequestfitness.com/podcast, and you can get all the show notes there.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 years. Got a low-key band right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I have a fantastic guest for you today. Another one of the amazing guys that I've got to meet through the Roman Fitness System Mastermind. He's a great writer. And he might have the best jumps I've ever seen out of any human being. So Spud Webb, I'm sorry, but I think you've been beat. But the world won't know because, they haven't seen you in a dunk contest yet. But the one and the only Joey Percia is on the show today. Joey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I think the jumps come from just my name, actually. It's just a baby Joey, so I guess it...
You're like a tiny kangaroo.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just a little boost.
Dude, all I know is when we were throwing the football around in Austin at the On It facility, and you went up and grabbed that thing with one hand, I was like, shit. Can I? I don't know anyone on the Panthers, but if I did, I'd be like, guys, we need a wide receiver this season. Why we pick up Joey?
Just trying to get on the Jets practice squad. They needed me.
Would you? I mean, as you get older, would you say fuck it and go out and try?
Oh no! The complete opposite. As I'm getting older, I just don't want to do that. Get too beat up for that.
Yeah, true.
I'm actually pretty like fragile, actually, when it comes down to it.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm a pretty injury prone guy.
So how many times? I mean, how many times have you been injured? Like,
oh
or
my God,
you? Like a lot.
Too many to count. I'm sure they'll pop up throughout. just from different stuff, from football, flag football, boxing. Oh, not really. I had like one of lifting, but that's it. Yeah, mostly it's just other stuff, motorcycle accidents, that kind of the fun stuff.
So the contact sports, not really the. I was Romanian deadlifting and pulled a hamstring. I was boxing a dude and got jacked in the jaw.
Yeah, I mean, well, I actually broke my jaw, but that was from football.
So Joey, for listeners who may not know, of you, I know there's a lot of us in the mastermind who are fairly new to the fitness world, and Googling names is about the only way you'll find out, of some people. But for those who don't know who you are, can you give a quick TLDR version of who you are and your story?
Yeah. So, I mean, my name. I guess I got into the industry probably started getting into it maybe like 10 or 11 years ago. Growing up, I was the skater dude, and that was probably for it was quite some time. I was the sponsored. I got to like travel on a bunch, and then I got to a point where I just like wanted to do other stuff. So I got into boxing. I fought a little bit. I was like, yes, I want to be a pro fighter. And then I realized, holy shit, this hurts. And then I broke both my wrists in a motorcycle accident. So then I actually just got, I got super into the training aspect. So I'm just like, I'm going to come back super strong. And then I got into it. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, I just want to train fighters. And ended up then just going into like, I want to train athletes. So that's what most of my past internships were like, working with athletes. I interned with Joe Carini in New Jersey, Carini's House of Iron, which is, I got to work with a bunch of high school, college, and pro football players and wrestlers at the time. And then from there, went back to grad school for my master's degree in exercise science. That internship, I worked at Westside Barbell, which you don't know, it's considered the strongest gym in the world. They have geared powerlifters, but they have the most records out of any gym in the world. Yeah. After that, I worked, I did corporate fitness a little bit, which I wasn't too big of a fan of. I quit that, moved to Arizona, was like a personal assistant for Breck Contreras for a little bit, then moved back, and then I'm at where I'm at now. So I'm at a boutique fitness studio in New York City. So we do like more higher end one-on-one training. I've been there for the past 2.5 years, basically.
So, see, I didn't know that you at one point were a sponsored skateboarder.
Not many do.
I want to let's go into that a little bit, because the only experience I have skateboarding are the few times I tried and had no balance, and then of course I was amazing at Tony Hawk. Like, I mean, if life were Tony Hawk, like I would be a master skateboarder.
Yeah.
So what got you into that, and how did you get sponsored?
Oh, wow. I honestly couldn't tell you what got me into it. I mean, it was probably just because like at that time, I feel like it was just the cool thing to do with everyone. Like everyone was doing it.
Yeah.
And then I just got like pretty good at it. And then I'm just decided to stick with it. Did it for a long time. I guess at that time I was kind of like, you kind of looked at it as like a reject basically, and like a punk kid. But I mean, it was also, I loved doing it. So I stayed with that. I was actually, so I kind of didn't mention this. I was a super, super tiny kid. So I'm a very like small jointed dude. Like I graduated high school at like maybe like soaking wet $130. Basically my girlfriend was bigger than me. So just doing that, I mean, that's kind of just skateboarding was like easy to come by. It was just like good, I was light, I could move. I had fun doing it. So I kind of just, I stuck with that. And then sponsored, it was just from, it was a local shop for a while. And then one of the reps in our area was just like getting free stuff through him. So I never got paid or anything for it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because I'm like, all right, so were you like a street grinder in the X Games, or like, sort of go into that a bit, but
yeah, more like the street skaters.
I gotcha.
And then now I like actually probably flipped it on. I don't watch TV anymore, but probably maybe last year, I kind of just somehow, I was somewhere and the X Games was on, and I just saw it and I was like, it's those guys it's basically like they're playing a video game now. It's ridiculous, the shit that they're doing. So I'm glad I'm fucking out of it.
Yeah, and talking about getting injured, I mean, like that you're gonna get injured doing that a lot.
They're crazy.
So you move from that into like, fighting and boxing. Are you still doing? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming you're not skateboarding anymore. Are you still boxing, doing anything like that, or is it just lifting and flag football?
Yeah, I pretty much don't do anything anymore besides lift, and I'll occasionally play flag football, but mostly lift and just build my business, right? And that type of stuff. Read now. Boxing I stopped years and years ago, pretty much after I broke my wrist, because I tried getting back into it and I couldn't hit anything because just the shock hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And plus I just, like I said, I wasn't cut out for it. I've had like 6 or 7 concussions throughout like everything between that and snowboarding and flag football. So like the last thing I want to do is keep getting hit in the head. Yes, and then flag football is just kind of like, I play back home, and it was because we have a pretty big league back there, so occasionally I'll go back and, throw on my cleats and run around for a bit, but nothing.
Where's back home?
From the Poconos in Pennsylvania.
All right, that's close to where, oddly enough, my wife's family owns, they own Skirmish Paintball.
Shit, yeah. That's super close.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they own Skirmish, and which is, I don't know. I just think it's awesome they have a castle, and they have smoke grenades. Like, who the fuck needs smoke grenades in paintball? But they will sell you smoke grenades.
They get serious up there.
They do. It's a good time.
My dad actually, on the weekends, he for a little bit he was like reffing there so he could like play paintball and shit.
Dude, the refs are the guys I feel the worst for, because like
get hit.
Oh God. And there's no I can just run out and run, like you're getting hit. Like no matter what, you're going to get hit 12, 15, 20 times in a game.
It's fun.
That's something I think would be fun for the whole mastermind group, is to play paintball. I can just see all of us doing that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I know a little bit. Obviously, I didn't know the skateboarding thing of your story. You were 130 pounds, wet when you graduated high school, and now you are a jacked dude. And you can see, obviously, you got the before and the after on your site. But everyone talks about it, and you sort of mention it in the About Me section. Everyone talks about all these things you learn through a fitness journey and, overcoming obstacles and success and all of this. But, you went from 130 pounds of nothing to who you are now. So what's the greatest lesson you've learned on your journey that isn't like the typical overcoming adversity, or enjoying the process?
I would probably say more than anything, it's just it's like grit. Like throughout everything is just just no matter what, just going through it. And it's not fun, it's not pretty. Like it'll be good times. Like I love this shit. But I go through months or whatever that are just like, I don't fucking want to do any of it. And it's just about finding different ways to kind of get around that and just figure out, I know people say like find your why and all that stuff, but it's kind of just like, no matter what, shit's going to suck sometimes, and you just got to figure out a way to get through it. And it's kind of like, you just, like they say, bite down your mouthpiece and just go.
Yeah.
And it depends on, and that's not like saying everyone has to go crazy and do all this shit. Like that's actually right now why I don't compete anymore. Like I competed in powerlifting for a while. Right now I haven't competed in maybe the last year. I just like don't have it right now. Like that's not my focus. That's not what I want to do. That takes a lot of energy. So like going through those big transformations and like training to be really, really good at something, it takes a lot of your energy. And like, you know, that's not my focus right now. I'll definitely get back to it. I know it will because I loved it. Just right now, I mean, I put my energy somewhere else.
How have you found that energy sort of changing and shifting, you know, as you do more entrepreneurial things, you know, with online and whatnot? How do you balance, you know, your life outside of that? Because you just recently got engaged. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll go into that because, dude, I got to know the story behind what you did because I'm a hopeless romantic at heart. And it was like, I saw it, and I was like, shit. That's some good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
I got a lot of brownie points for that.
So how have you found, you know, balance? Is it sort of letting go of some of the things that you did in the past because they do take too much energy?
Yeah. So probably, let's see, what are we in? September? A little over a year ago. I went through something called Resurrection Week. Basically, it was like a full immersion, like both feet in, like retreat. And it was for fitness entrepreneurs and guys who kind of just like felt lost or like confused or didn't know what was going on. So up until that point, everything in my life was almost geared towards like, basically it was fitness stuff. I was powerlifting, it was getting better at powerlifting. It was, I want to play football, like I'm going to get as you know, as good as I can at that. It was all like towards that stuff. I want to know everything about this stuff. So like, that's all I did. And all my relationships, whether it was like intimate relationships or relationships with my friends, family, they all kind of were fucked up. So, I mean, most of my girlfriends up until that point I cheated on most of them. Wasn't like they didn't, they're awesome. It was just shitty stuff that I had going on. And so I went through that and I kind of just flipped everything around. So it just made me look at what my priorities are moving forward. And that is, at that point, it wasn't, I need to focus on the fitness aspect so much anymore. It was, okay, I have all this other shit that I want to fix up. And from that point forward, it was just kind of changing all that stuff.
So I'm intrigued now about this Resurrection Week thing.
Yeah.
What can you tell me? I mean,
that's actually
a little more about it.
Yeah. My entire sleeve is based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain because it's kind of like
I mean, it's I guess it's like going through something that like you understand, but it's hard to put into words. But what are some things you learned from it that maybe like listeners would be important for anyone to sort of think about or contemplate?
So, I mean, the probably two of the biggest things, not even two of the biggest things, two big things that your listeners will be able to take away that I got of it. Before we even started, we did calls leading up to it. We had like homework and stuff to do, and they asked to read two books. The one was Loving What Is, which is by Byron Katie. And the other one is The Big Leap, which, let me see, I don't remember who it was. I don't know. Who is it? Hendrix Gay. And they were basically, The Big Leap is, everyone has like an upper limit problem based on like self-limiting beliefs based on what happened in their past, their fears, what they kind of perceive things to be. And the same thing with Loving What Is. We kind of all tell ourselves certain stories, and which is why we have certain outlooks on things. And in reality, most of these things aren't actually true. And those are the things that are holding us back.
Yeah.
And this happens like from certain situations that happen to us when we're growing up, whether it's something like, people were bullied, our parents said something to us a certain way, someone treated us a certain way, that type of thing. Was it physical abuse, mental abuse, all this stuff. So up until that point, there's kind of just stuff that it just was not aware of at all whatsoever. And just that kind of just opened up a lot. And I'm like before we even went through it, I'm like, holy shit, that's okay. Like I can, I can definitely see why I, think that when, someone says this, or why I think that when I'm put in this situation. And that really changed my outlook on everything. So those are like two, easy reads. I actually did them on audio, like Audible, and just listened to the audiobooks. And that was something I did. And there's still probably two of, I would say pretty much some of my favorite books, just because that's such a big, it was such a big thing for me. And it was so much, like, I don't say I regret things, but it was just so much stuff that I just wish I kind of had a different outlook before, and kind of changed some things. But they kind of, it really opened up my eyes for certain stuff.
Okay. So we just, chatted a little bit about your engagement. How long have you and your girl been together?
Ooh, less than a year.
Less than a year. Okay. So, you mentioned you go through this process and you have this sort of resurrection of yourself, and you make these mental changes. When did you realize, like, when was the moment you were like, I'm going to ask this girl to marry me?
Our second date.
All right.
Yeah. I knew her. We actually went to college together.
Yeah.
But I mean, we like roughly, we met like 2 or 3 times, and that's pretty much it. We didn't really, like, we'd see each other and we knew who we were because we had mutual friends. And then, like, I mean, we both graduated, did our own thing. And I just had a crush on her for like a really long time. And then I was actually kind of planning on moving. I'm still in New York, but she's in New Jersey. I was planning on moving out west within like a couple months. And I was just like, let me, like, just randomly, I forgot what I was doing actually. It was a Friday night. I know I was at home working. I like just actually went through like my second or third session on my sleeve. Or I might have actually texted her during it. And I just like, I actually I was swiped. So this is my in. So I like needed a way to like reach out to her because we didn't talk too much. So I didn't know what to do. I had, I think it was OK Cupid. So like the dating app. And there was a picture of a girl that looked kind of like her. So I screenshot it and sent it to her. And like with whatever is saying it. And like that was my into it. And she was like, I just remember she was like, that doesn't look like me, like, at all. So we ended up like just talking, and then like, I don't know, we hung out maybe like 2 weeks later. And then, the next week for like second date. And during that second date, I was like, this is the girl that I want to marry. But that had to go with the stuff that we went through in Resurrection Week. Like I knew what I wanted. Like I was clear about what I wanted as far as like my future and kind of, and in the near future, and then my future down the road. So instead of kind of looking at like maybe the next best thing, I mean, I knew exactly what I wanted, and it just so happened that was pretty much the next girl I dated. I mean, I went on like some dates with people, but it was a few months after that. And I was like, okay, this is like, the girl I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Awesome. So I got to ask, because the giant hopeless romantic that I am, I went through a huge, there were like 3 plans when I popped the question, that different things I wanted to do, and settled on, hiring an a cappella group to sing a song that her favorite song that she had written, an a cappella piece for in college.
Oh, that's great.
And randomly like emailed her roommate from college and was like, do you still have this? Please tell me, Liz, you still have this. She goes, oh my God, funny enough, I found it the other day while cleaning out like stuff in my garage. Sure, I'll send it to you. So she knew it was coming, but she didn't know how it was going to happen. She just knew that like I was doing something because I was acting a little off that day. So where did you get the idea? Because I saw what it was and you did some clues. So tell us a little bit of the story of how you develop your engagement idea.
The idea I don't remember, but it was it was very last minute. Like I knew. I went on, we had like the fitness conference up in Toronto, like, I don't know, sometime this year. And then like when I got back, I was like, okay, like I definitely want to like, move on with this engagement pretty soon. Like we talked about it. We talked about getting married. We talked about having kids, but we didn't like say like, hey, let's get engaged by this time because I'm still in New York. She's still in New Jersey. And at that point, I got home like, yep, like, I want to do this. So I put wheels in motion, ended up getting the ring sooner than I thought. And then she randomly was like, hey, I want to go on vacation. Like, can we go to Mexico? Or can we go on vacation? I was like, funny enough, I know someone, who can like kind of hook us up in Mexico. So we were waiting for like that to go through. I didn't get the confirmation until a week before our trip was supposed to be. So at that point, it was like, oh yeah, like everything's good. Like you're good to go at those dates. I was like, shit, okay. So we like had to rush book everything. And at that point, I'm like, got in touch with the GM at the place we stayed, and I'm like emailing back and forth, and I have this idea or this idea, like what? Because I had no idea what was around the place. I had no idea what we could do. I'm like, these are like a couple ideas that I had. She's like, yeah, we can do. We ended up doing. I did a scavenger hunt. So she was like, yes, we can definitely do that. So I was like, okay, wrote up all the clues, sent them to her like 2 or 3 days before we were supposed to leave. I didn't hear anything. So I'm sitting on the plane, like you're sitting on the plane about to take off, and I'm like still checking my email, nothing. I emailed them back. I'm like, hey, we're on our way. Is like everything okay, or should I figure something else out? Obviously we flew. So the whole flight, we went to Tulum, so it was like an hour and a half from the airport in Cancun. So that whole drive, we check in the airport. The first thing I'm doing is like checking my email. And then the email I got was just like, yes, everything's good. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like, how's it going to start? Like, so still that whole entire day, I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? What the hell's going to happen? Like, so all day she's like, what are we doing for dinner? I was like, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. She's like, what are we doing? And towards the end, you're just getting like, okay, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, listen, just take a shower, get ready, I'll go down in the front and figure it out. So I got down in the front, I'm like, all right, I need to talk to someone, I'm supposed to have this. And she was like, okay, yeah, they got someone, they're like, everything's good and great. So they had someone come to the room before dinner, drop the note off. It sent her on a scavenger hunt with it was 4 or 5 different clues that I wrote, and it ended on the beach, candlelight dinner under like a canopy, and yeah, I asked her to marry me then. Gave her a love note, and the rest is history.
Oh, dude, that's so good. That's like, my next question was how nervous or scared were you that day? But now, obviously, I don't need to have you answer that, because obviously you were like, what the fuck? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why
That's the only thing that I was like antsy about. I wasn't like nervous about, her saying no or anything like that. It was more so just like, is everything like settled? Are we gonna do this? Or
could she tell something was up? Like, no, not at all.
That's not one of her best traits. She's kind of oblivious to stuff.
Lucky you.
and to be completely fair, we like it was completely by surprise. We didn't look at rings. I figured out what she liked based on like her randomly talking about like her friend that just got engaged, and like her liking my sister-in-laws and that type of stuff. So I was pretty sneaky with that. I was sneaky with the ring size. I asked her friend who, they went looking at rings or something like that. And yeah, and like I talked to her like family before, and they had zero, like no idea at all. It's like, wow, we would have thought it was going to come in a couple months. was like, no, I want to. I did everything because I just wanted to completely like blow her off her feet. Like, have no idea that it was coming. Not one of those ones where it's like, okay, when's this gonna happen? Like, I wanted to do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And it did.
Well, congratulations on getting the surprise off.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll go through a couple of fun questions, and then we'll talk a little training and articles that you've written.
You got it.
Close out because I know you got some things to do here in a bit. Joey, where would you go in a time machine if you could go anywhere? Where would you go?
Oh man. That's interesting. I would for some reason, I don't know why, medieval times just keeps popping up. And I think that's because, like, I thought medieval times is super cool. And although, like, they behead people and stuff like that, I guess I would go there.
All right. I got you. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Oh my, these are good. Yeah.
No, I know. I have a feeling if I were to ask you who would play Joey Percia, you'd be like Vin Diesel. But
no, The Rock.
No, The Rock. All right. Oh. Then it would be like an action comedy, which, knowing you, I think would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's everything would be fixed with a smile.
Everything would be fixed with a smile.
Or everything is better with a smile.
Or just smile.
Yeah. That was, I mean, Smiley was my nickname growing up, and like, the power of a good smile will blow people away. Oh
yeah, of course. Do you find that? Now, this is just from my experience in New York. Being a Southerner, born and raised. You're taught to be nice and have manners, and you say good morning, and you say thank you. But I noticed in New York, like, I would say good morning to people, and they would give you this look of like, who the fuck? You're a creeper. You want to kill me right now, don't you? Like, do you ever like just smile at people and get that weird like look? Or do you smile and people smile back?
No. I mean, it's probably the former. You'll mostly get crazy looks. But on occasion, you do get people who like smile back and stuff, and it depends on the situation. If you're like, checking out of like a grocery store or something like that, you can get a smile out of those people, and like, even if they have bad days. But I mean, crossing on the street is definitely a lot different. There's like, living in New York you get an idea of how crazy just people are, just because. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But no, it's definitely. Honestly, it's pretty different than most places, especially like even when I go back home to Pennsylvania, it's like a small town and stuff, but that's the same way. Even now, I'm like, oh, why are all these people saying hi to me and stuff? Like, it's weird when you're not used to it, and it's pretty rare here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Joey, we have drunkenly gotten wasted at plenty of bars over the last year during mastermind meetups and IHOP in Austin. Totally looking forward to that happening again. But I got to know, we've both been in college and we've done it. What's the most money you've ever drunkenly spent at a fast food place?
Huh.
Because you went from 130 pounds with the jack dude you are now, so that means you know how to eat some food.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't like... I'm trying to think. I mean, it couldn't be more than like, fast food. What are we talking fast food here?
Like McDonald's, Taco Bell, something in, you know what? In the Poconos, like, you maybe got drunk and went to Wawa.
Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. Yeah. I would probably say like Wawa would be like, I've had like a couple $40 nights at Wawa.
Oh God, who can't? Oh, it's so
which is like, I mean, hoagies, and you get like 2 sandwiches, bags of chips, and a bunch of random milkshakes and whatever other ice cream they have. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely happened. Other than that, I wouldn't say much more than that. That's pretty much the tops.
I got you. What's the last new thing you tried?
Hmm. Um,
And this can be like a fitness, exercise thing, like a food thing, anything.
I don't know. Let me. I feel like I mean, I was just in Mexico, so I did some fun stuff there. um, what the hell have I been doing? Man, I'm kind of stumped. I haven't been doing too much new shit.
Well, man, life just sounds like you're in the groove, man.
It is
Seems
so
like
busy.
yeah.
What did I do in Mexico?
I mean, you did ask a girl to marry you. That's not something. I mean, that's
That's
totally
new.
something new.
Yeah. I mean, I just had an engagement party on
That's and
Sunday.
that's and
That's
that's new.
pretty
Like you're
new.
gonna start planning a wedding. Like that's and the only advice I will ever give anyone on planning a wedding is breathe, breathe, because there's going to be a whole lot of shenanigans that go on, and not from you, from your out, like from the families. Like they
Yeah.
all, everyone wants like what they didn't get at their wedding for your wedding, and you're like, oh God.
I got a little bit of that, but other than that, luckily, we're both sides of our families are pretty sane.
Yeah,
So, at least our immediate families. So.
yeah. All right, so let's talk a little fitness and training and some articles that you've written. So one of the going back into your catalog of stuff, you wrote a piece about sort of never growing up. Walt Disney was like you're just a kid grown up anyways, or something like that. So how do you what do you do to keep the kid inside alive?
Yeah, so that's actually it's funny that you picked that because that's probably I haven't looked at the analytics, but that's probably like my least viewed article, I would say. I think just because my readers are mostly fitness stuff for now. But
Yeah,
as far as that, just like going back to just smiling and having a good time. And I think that comes with that's just a different outlook on things. So I have a lot of it from my family and not my immediate family, but further out, looking at what I did or what I do as not so much a job or not a real job. And that came with my whole entire life pretty much. But it was like skateboarding. It was like, when are you going to grow up? And
yeah.
and then it was just, and then I went into, fitness, and it's just like, oh, you're a personal trainer. I was like, yeah, I'm a personal trainer. But I also work with people you watch on TV. So, so it's just like, I hate not hate. I just never want to be the person that is completely miserable going to work every day. I'm okay with sacrificing certain things, or up until that point, I've been okay with sacrificing certain things, like not taking, awesome vacations and like doing this sort of thing. But I just never wanted to wake up every day hating what I did, or just resenting it. And I didn't want, when I do have kids, I never want them to see that. And it's just like, to me, it's just like in finding the good in certain things. And my mom was awesome at showing me how to do that. My fiance is amazing at that, and that's one of the reasons why I love her. And it's just like kind of those outlooks on life.
I like that. I think that's something and I can tell you as a fitness entrepreneur myself, I forget the joys of being a kid.
Yeah, it just had so less care, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just
All right, so had a little disconnect there with Skype, so we're back on it. So we just talked about being a kid and not letting go of that kid spirit. So I want to talk about some fitness stuff now as well. So you've done powerlifting. You had a huge deadlift, and you write a lot about deadlifting and doing a lot of strength training. What's the best deadlifting tip you could give people? that can help them improve their deadlift number?
It would be two. It would be deadlift frequently.
Okay.
And get as tight as you can. Like as tight as humanly possible. Every other muscle, get tight. Get tighter than you think. When you get really, really tight, get even tighter than that.
I got you.
So a lot of people, and by frequently, I don't mean
every day.
Every day, or even like multiple times a week, and that have to be heavy. Just get really, really good at technique, because things are going to change when you start loading things like, getting up to your maximal weights and getting the pull's going to feel different than like speed pulls and like all that stuff. So just getting used to holding the heavy weight, learning how your body's going to feel, learning how you're going to move under it, and finding the right deadlift for you. So instead of like pulling sumo because someone says to pull sumo, or pulling conventional because someone says to pull conventional.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with the finding your different stance, whether it's conventional, sumo, and then you've done some stuff with like B stances, being a little staggered, which is so weird. And like I've done a slightly staggered like 135 just to feel it, and it feels so weird and different.
Yeah. And that's one of my things. I kind of do a lot of like variations in training and like certain exercises and stuff. And that comes kind of from it comes twofold. One, from my background in West Side. So that's how I trained for so long, like even before I was there, and then the heavy influence from that, and in combination with the fact that I was always training for performance, whether it was football to jump higher, or run faster, or powerlifting, and that I got hurt a lot. So learning joint friendly exercises, or exercises that limit certain weight that I can use, so it reduces the chance of injury, or not stress, certain joints or certain muscles. Did I lose you again?
No, I'm here. There's some.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's the feed does that sometimes with connections. No, and you've got some really good points on that. Having trained at Westside and then training with Brett, like what sort of things? How did you meld those two philosophies together?
Brett's actually a big fan of Westside. So, basically going hand in hand. So, like, just knowing from him, my experience before that, like, you're not going to train, a geared powerlifter like you're going to train everyone else. So using the Westside system, but also, like, if it's going to sprinters, it's training, like, they have to do these certain things. And, they're not going to squat as wide, and they're not going to do this, and they're not going to do 5-rep good mornings and, like, 5RM good mornings and that type of thing. And it's just, with him, it was the big research background of, and I also had a good grasp of it from my master's degree, and being like having to like analyze research and do my thesis and like going through all this stuff. And so I had a good grasp of it, but he just kind of hammered that home. And he's just like such a smart dude that, he taught me so much in the few months that I was there. Like I'm definitely lucky to have had that.
How much, so do you find that you train yourself or even your clients more with glutes now versus like before Brett, or have you always been pretty heavy on glute training?
Yeah, pretty heavy on it, which is basically from the influence from him.
Yeah.
Which started before I even worked for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that also comes from the from Westside as well. Just like they're such proponents of like training like posterior chain stuff. So I mean, and with the help with the gear, it's kind of, they need that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, but it was always very hip dominant stuff.
So is that how you were able to fly as high as you do when you jump? Because I'm gonna go back to it, dude. Your fucking hops are ridiculous. Like, like when we all were jumping and just trying to like do the thing on it where you hit the bars, sort of like the NFL players, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Joey is like 12 of these things above all of us.
Yeah, the Vertec. Yeah. I actually, so that comes from a combination of actually training for vertical jump. Like I did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause I'm a small dude. I'm like 5'9", and within the first couple years that I was lifting, my main focus was at that point, like, I want to dunk a basketball. Like, I'm 5'9". I want to go to play basketball and be like the little white kid that blocks everyone and can dunk. So that's what a lot of my training was. And that was a combination of getting really strong, which I was able to do, or get, fairly strong for my size, which I was able to do. And then, like building my elasticity with jump training and plyo training. And then I was able to, I kind of continue that. And that goes with the sport performance background of like being able to do that stuff or training for that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now just like, just envision you doing it. I'm like, God damn it. Because I've always wanted to dunk. Like we always had to lower the goal down to like 8.5 feet because we all wanted to dunk. And, like I had one block playing like intramural basketball in like college where guy went up for a layup and thought he had it. I just went up and pinned it against the backboard. And I still swear that was the highest I've ever jumped in my life. I don't know how it happened. But
sometimes that just happens.
It does. It happens, and like every dude in the gym was like, "Oh shit, white boy just went up and blocked you," and I was like, "I don't know what just came over me. Like that's never happened."
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
But like you're inches away from the rim, and you're like, "Oh God, I almost dunked." Like just always want to do it.
I can't dunk in a while. I haven't jumped too much anymore, but yeah. It's a pretty awesome feeling, which is it took a while though.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
You get really really close, and then it's just like so frustrating. And,
well, it's like being a powerlifter when you get so close to the number you want.
So that took a lot of my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll wind it down because I know you have a meeting you have to go to. So last sort of fun, serious question. If you could write a note to your younger self, what would you say in only 2 words?
Try harder.
Try harder. Why try harder?
Just because there's always more you can do.
Always more you can do. like
you think that's it, there's something else. Whether it's like you get the push from the people around you that you know, or there's you go through certain situations. And so I tell you what, when through Resurrection Week, one of the guys, because we went through some like pretty serious shit, you know, grown ass men crying and stuff. And one of the guys brought up a really great point, and we all have our problems, and they're like all our beliefs are the things holding us back. And for each of us, we all think our worst problem is like the worst thing that's ever happened to us.
Yeah.
When in reality, like you look at other people and like things that have happened to them, and they are 5, 10, 15 times worse than what happened to us.
Yep.
And it's just like our perception of things. So there's always something that can be done, and that's why.
I like that. And I think that's a good perspective to have. recently to sort of tie this back into some stuff. I know you've probably had this experience as well as a coach. You have a client come to you and they're like, Joey, I'm really frustrated. Like, I'm not seeing the results that I thought I would get. Like, yeah, all right, sure, I lost half an inch. That's great. But I'm not where I wanted to be. And I think one of the things that is so important to remember is that you could be where everyone else wants to be. Like, other people are looking at you going, oh God, if I was where you were, like, that's where I want to be. So just understanding that, there are people out there trying to get to where you are, and that if you just keep doing what you're doing, like, you'll get to where you want to be. But there's always someone looking to be you.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, your problem, yeah, it sucks and you're frustrated and understand that, but like, you are where someone right now
wishes they were.
Yeah. So it's not that bad.
It's all perspective.
It is. So Joey, I know you got to run off to a meeting, but if more people want to know about you, where can they find you online and read your stuff and watch your awesome, hilarious videos and whatnot?
You can go to my website is joeypercia.com, and I also put from there I email my list pretty frequently during the week and tell them funny stories about my weekend and things that can help them out. And then also I'm pretty active on Facebook. I have a cool group of people, kind of like accountability group for everyday folk, just to kind of help with their fitness goals. And yeah, that's all through my personal. I pretty much use my personal page more than anything. So
Gotcha.
Connect, say hi, and I will respond.
Awesome. Well, guys, you can get all of those links to Joey's Facebook, Instagram as well, and all the links to the books that we talked about, that they had to read for Resurrection Week, because there are going to be 2 that I put on my wish list as well for the next few months. But you can find all that at sidequestfitness.com/Joey, Joey hyphen Percia, Percia. So head over there and pick up the show notes, and you can see everything Joey and I talked about on this episode. Joey, it's been a blast catching up. I can't wait to drink some whiskey, talk some manhood, man stuff, and then do some business mastermind in a few weeks. So
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests, you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.